Are you wondering whether you can get a green card if your spouse is abusive? The answer is it depends. Let me explain your option. Violence Against Women's Act. It's called VAWA. Hi, I'm Attorney Jay Francis. I'm a U.S. immigration lawyer based in Chicago but serving all 50 states. I'm going to walk you through breaking down details of VAWA option and program for you. Number one, what is VAWA program? The full title of this program, the VAWA, is actually Violence Against Women Act. Although the title of the program seems to apply to only women, it is actually applicable to men and women. Also, I'm going to talk about application of this program to children and parents as well. And also this program, you don't need to have a police report or to call the police. There's many ways to show that there is an abusive relationship between you and then your abusive spouse and parents and then child. Unlike other typical immigration application, especially in the context of family base, you need a family sponsor. In the case of business immigration, you need a business sponsor. This VAWA program is called self-petition. It means that you don't need anybody else sponsoring for you, although you need an abusive spouse. So when you start and submit your VAWA petition, it's just you. So you don't need to tell your abusive spouse about this opportunity and application, or your abusive spouse doesn't need to know about this. It's all about protection. Program is intended to increase protection and benefits for the spouses and children and parents of abusive immediate family members. Number two, who is eligible? If your spouse is U.S. citizen or permanent resident and abusing you, it can be physical, it can be psychological, it can be financial, it can be emotional, it can be controlling, putting down on you, and then you may be eligible for VAWA. Now, in the case of parents, abuser must be U.S. citizen over 21 years old. In the case of child, abuser, a child must be under 21 years old and single, and abuser must be either U.S. citizen or permanent resident parent. Now, when you're thinking about starting your VAWA program and case, you may have a various, situation. You're variously situated. Perhaps you've been married quite some time and you have a pending immigration case, or you newlywed but you haven't submitted any case. The most common scenario would be you and your U.S. citizen spouse started marriage green card case together, and then it has been long pending, after interview, even after interview. And then your spouse turned abusive towards you, threatening that, I'm going to make sure that you're deported, and accuse you of getting married for only immigration benefits. Now, also, you might have already divorced. So you got married to U.S. citizen, permanent resident previously, but your divorce was finalized. And in this case, unlike any other situation, you must submit your VAWA petition within 2 years of finalizing your divorce. Now, if you are past 2 years, then you're not eligible. I'm going to circle back one more time. For this VAWA program, you don't need to call the police, or you don't need to have a police report to be eligible. Number 3, what are the benefits? There's many. Number 1, privacy and protection. You don't need to stay abusive relationship to apply for this case. In fact, if you feel very unsafe to stay with your abusive spouse, parents, and child, you may move out and then you may stay at the safe address. Number 2, this case will take some time, but while waiting for USCIS to review and approve your VAWA case, you'll get work permit, EAD, social security number if you don't have it. And as you know, when you have a social security and then valid work permit, you'll be able to get state ID and driver license. Also, at the end, you'll get 10-year green card. 10-year green card. Once you become a permanent resident, 3 years later, you'll be able to apply for U.S. citizenship. While waiting for USCIS to review and then adjudicate your VAWA case, also, if you apply for I-131 travel permit and when it's approved, you may go overseas and then come back. This program offers many benefits. Number 4, what are the steps for VAWA? In most cases, you'll be able to submit your 360 VAWA petition and 45 adjustment of the status application at the same time, as long as you don't have inadmissibility issues. So for example, if you ever falsely claim to be U.S. citizen, in most cases when you apply for a job, right, you fill out I-9 and then either you or your employer select that you're a U.S. citizen, and then you're not able to submit your 360 VAWA and 45 green card application at the same time. Only 360 petition. Now, the good news is that if you enter without inspection only once, right? Only once. So you enter the U.S. without the visa or parole, but you enter unlawfully only once, then you will be able to apply for 360 VAWA and 45 at the same time without ever leaving the United States. On top of 360 and 45, you'll be able to submit a 765 work permit application and 131 travel permit application. Also, instead of finding or having sponsor, which is A64, affidavit of support, you don't need a sponsor. Unlike any other family-based cases, you don't need any sponsor who's gonna financially support you. So instead of supporting A64 form, instead of submitting A64 form, you'll be submitting A64W. It means that you don't need A64. I'm gonna share the biggest good news for you. In 2024 and thereafter, there is no USCIS filing fee. Everything is free when it comes to USCIS filing fee. No filing fee for 485, 765, 131, completely free. Also, in addition to list of the form that I mentioned, you need to submit your 693 immigration medical exam form. So, good idea to submit everything at once to USCIS. Number 5, what are the factors of VAWA? In order to get your VAWA case approved, you need to show 3 major factors, elements. Number 1, you and your abusive spouse or parents or child had a bona fide relationship. So in the case of abusive spouse, you and then your abusive spouse live together. Perhaps you had a joint lease agreement, joint bank account, maybe perhaps you have a child together. To prove bona fide relationship, especially between spousal cases, spousal VAWA cases, joint residency is absolutely important. Now, to show bona fide relationship, it means the real marital relationship. It's all about objective documentation. So, like I said, you need supporting documents instead of your statement. And number two, you need to show that you are a person of good moral character. It means that you don't have a serious criminal records. And number three, you need to show that there's an abusive relationship. As I mentioned, that you don't need to show physical abuse. You don't usually need a police report. In most cases, abusive relationship exists in daily conversation, daily relationship. For example, your abusive spouse threatened to withdraw the petition, and they say that you need to go back to your home country, or controlling or preventing you from doing mundane regular stuff outside. It can be emotional, just makes you depressed. They can be drinking alcohol and drugs and then just like threaten you. It comes in many different forms. But at the end of the day, you need to show bona fide relationship, good moral character, and then three, abusive relationship. You need to show all of them, not just one of them. So, for example, you didn't live together all the time, maybe live in different states for many different regions, and then you meet once in a while during the weekends, and then whenever you meet, this abusive relationship happen. It's just challenging case because you probably don't have any objective document showing that you live together. So the key point is to show all above three factors to get approval. Number six, how long does VAWA takes to get approval? I'm going to talk about processing time. As I explained, that you're able to submit everything at once, concurrently. And then first action would be you'll get receipt notices and then biometrics, capturing your fingerprints for background check. And then about 3 to 6 months after you submitted everything, 3 to 6 months later, you'll get work permit and social. If you submitted 360 and 45 and 765 131 at the same time. Now, your travel permit will take a little bit longer. I would say once you submit, it'll take between 6 and 1 year to get it approved. So usually work permit and travel permit. Now, before USCIS approve your VAWA and then green card, they're gonna approve your VAWA first. So it's a two-step. So then in most cases, USCIS will approve your VAWA petition 360 about 2.5 years and 3 years after you submitted everything. So 2.5 years to 3 years. And then your green card will take a little bit more than 3 years to get it approved. So overall, the VAWA adjustment of the status cases from the beginning to the end takes about 3 years. Now, having abusive relationship is very challenging for many different reasons. You probably live under fears and threats for many years, but there is a hope. And then it's a VAWA program for you, both men and women. Thank you for watching.